It's time now for a look at the latest in local news. In the news, the Wayne County Commissioners set to meet this afternoon, first Monday in November. The Commissioners' regular monthly meeting at 6 p.m., but they have a called work session today at 5 p.m. The purpose of the work session is for the Commissioners to hear from their auditor, who will review the county's 2023 audit report. All that today at 5 p.m. the County Commissioners meeting room, and then the regular meeting at 6 p.m. On the agenda at 6, a lot of board appointments, along with items with the administrator, items with the county clerk, items with the commissioners. WIFO fan will be on hand today. Have a full report for you tomorrow here on the local news. Election day is Tuesday, November the 5th, and a reminder, all voting precincts in Wayne County will be open tomorrow from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Voter turnout expected to be heavy, as early voter turnout consistently strong in Wayne County. On Friday, the last day of the 3-week early voting period, another 663 people voted, which brought the early vote total in Wayne County to 9,756. That's how many Wayne County registered voters have already voted in this year's election. According to Wayne County election officials, there are 18,661 registered voters in the county, so over 50% of the registered voters have already voted in the election. There is a contested commissioner's race on the ballot in District 5, as incumbent Jamie Hickox opted not to seek re-election. The two candidates running for that position are Princess Dow and Randy Franks. Once again, the election date tomorrow, Tuesday, November 5th. Again, polls open at 7 and remain open until 7 p.m. We'll be back with more news after this word from our sponsor, other commercial messages, so please stay tuned. Other news, the battle between District Attorney Keith Higgins and the Glenn County Commissioners escalated this past week as the DAs filed a lawsuit against the leaders of Glenn County over what he alleges is their failure to do their job and fund his office and the prosecutorial agency. Conflict continues over the revelation back in July that the DA's office is over budget by $880,000 due to an accounting error. Commissioners and the DA have been communicating back and forth through letters as commissioners in Glenn County seek repayment and to charge fees for processing payroll for staff and prosecutors. Issue came to a head in September, as in the lawsuit, Higgins alleges the county withheld around $785,000 in payroll funding and began charging the DA over overhead expenses. Higgins claims the situation made his office unable to function and unable to prosecute crimes. He filed a writ of mandamus suit Monday in Glenn County Superior Court. Last month, Higgins' office stopped handling juvenile court cases in the circuit. He's pulled all his assistant DAs to the Glenn County office. Wayne County Commissioners have begun the process looking for ways for Wayne County to get out of the Brunswick Judicial Circuit altogether and form a new circuit with Appling, Jeff Davis, and possibly another county. This would have to be done at the state level, but County Administrator Paul Drawdy has talked with local delegation. He says all seem to be on board. We're looking at that possibility, and we'll continue to follow that story as it develops. Attorney General Chris Carr in town last week. He began the day at the Jesup train depot addressing local law enforcement and wanted to talk about the state's fight against human trafficking and the recent arrests that have been made statewide. Here were some of the comments this past week on human trafficking by the state Attorney General Chris Carr.
First came into office 8 years ago. I knew a little bit about it. People said, well, y'all are kind of blowing it up. Unfortunately, we're not blowing this issue up. And what we're talking about adults that are buying and selling children for sex. And it doesn't just happen in urban areas. And when I first came in, there was a nonprofit that did some research that showed, and I forget which year it was, 2016, 17, 18, somewhere in there, that the victims that they, or the survivors that they were helping came from 130 of Georgia's 159 counties. I mean, it's a big issue. We have now, since we started this again in 2019, we have now over 50 convictions, and we've rescued and assisted 200 young people. That's 200 lives that will forever be changed. Because when you buy or sell a human being for sex, you break that human being. You do. And these children, 14 to 17-year-old girls generally are what we're seeing. They're being broken, and they need wraparound services, and you need health care, and you need education, and mental health services. And so there are some incredible nonprofits that are doing a lot of great work. But we are prosecuting both buyers and sellers. I think that's critically important. It's not just the sellers, but we just had a case that we just indicted the 12th individual in that case. 3 sellers, so 3 different people passed that child along to sell, and 9 different people bought that child. Think about that. I mean, it's horrific. So again, this is an issue, and no matter what the issue is that I brought up, it is so important that we work with federal, state, and local law enforcement. Because all of us have limited resources, we have limited budgets, but when you don't care who's getting the credit and people of goodwill want to work together, we can make it work. And something's happening in this state that's different from an economic development standpoint. We work together in a way that's just different from other states. From a law enforcement perspective, when I talk to folks nationally, they say, what's going on in Georgia? Well, we're just willing to work together, and this is one of those areas that's critically important. We also, for the first time, prosecuted someone selling a disabled adult. This is a horrific crime that gets sicker by the day. But literally, we talk about children, we also talk about disabled adults, and that's one area that we've really focused on. We prosecuted a clerk at a hotel that was in on the act, both financially and sexually. So this is an issue, again, that's just evil. I think we have a legal obligation to protect the most vulnerable. I think we have a moral obligation as well. And talk about gangs. So look, 80% of all human trafficking is gang affiliated. And folks think the gangs are just maybe another, again, an urban issue or whatever it may be. Georgia Gang Investigators a few years ago, they just updated this, but a few years ago did a survey, asked all 159 counties, you see evidence of gang activity? 157 said yes, which tells me one thing, 2 counties lied. Unfortunately, we have gangs in every community in our state. Maybe a neighborhood gang, maybe a national or transnational gang, but not gang. And I'm an elected official. I know nobody wants to have a gang in their backyard. But what folks want to know is, if we do, what are y'all doing? Well, we're the cavalry. And in this state, we're putting resources towards going after violent crime. 60 to 90% of all violent crime in this state is gang related. And I'm going to talk about this in just a second.
And again, those are some of the comments of Attorney General Chris Carr in town this past week speaking to local law enforcement at the Jesup Train Depot. We'll be back with some final news notes after this word from our sponsor, the commercial messages, so please stay tuned. Final notes and news, the William Tom Memorial Rodeo is set for their 25th anniversary this weekend. The dates Friday and Saturday, November 8th and 9th at the T&T Arena located at 361 Hortense Road. Gates will open each night at 5:30. The rodeo begins each night at 8. Admission price is $20 for adults and $10 for children, and those under 6 will be admitted free. And that's the William Tom Memorial Rodeo, featuring bull riding, bronc riding, calf roping, barrel racing, just a great evening of rodeo entertainment. Again, all set for this weekend, Friday and Saturday, November 8th and 9th in Scriven, Georgia. City of Jesup accepting interest in this year's Christmas Parade, which is scheduled for Friday, December the 6th in downtown Jesup. The theme of this year's parade is Dreaming of a Downtown Christmas. Once again, the City of Jesup has taken over the Christmas Parade this year, and the date is Friday, December 6th. If you'd like to make an entry, and all entries into the parade are $35. Call City Hall at 912-427-1313. And the Grand Marshal has been selected. Again, Edna Ruth Williamson will be the Grand Marshal of the Christmas Parade, set again for Friday, December 6th in downtown Jesup. Once again, the theme, Dreaming of a Downtown Christmas. And a week from today, Monday, November 11th, at the high school auditorium, the annual Veterans Day program, which will begin at 10 a.m. As always, the public is invited to attend. This program put on by the students at the high school. This year's guest speaker will be Sergeant Major Peter Amos. Once again, the program at the Benny Ratliff Arena, Monday, November the 11th at the high school. Again, it gets underway at 10 a.m. That's going to do it for latest in local news. Sports comes your way in a few minutes. Bob Morgan, have a great day.